Kalajdzic. It's Zuffa Boxing. Topped by Valenuela versus Torres. Only on Paramount Plus. Tonight, Zuffa Boxing brings us a night of proven warriors with the main event featuring elite power punchers. It's the return to the spotlight for Jose Rayo Valenzuela.
Nice left from Jose Valenzuela.
Now the Mexican veteran steps into the danger zone against Diego Torres with 19 knockouts among his 22 wins. Plus, in a highly compelling opener, Alexander the Nail Gvozdyk knows what it takes to win a world title. Now the sharpened puncher meets the hunger unleashed. Valenuela Kalajdzic. It's Zuffa Boxing. Topped by Valenuela versus Torres. Only on Paramount Plus. Tonight, Zuffa Boxing brings us a night of proven warriors with the main event featuring elite power punchers. It's the return to the spotlight for Jose Rayo Valenzuela.
Nice left from Jose Valenzuela.
Now the Mexican veteran steps into the danger zone against Diego Torres with 19 knockouts among his 22 wins. Plus, in a highly compelling opener, Alexander the Nail Gvozdyk knows what it takes to win a world title. Now the sharpened puncher meets the hunger unleashed. Valenuela Kalajdzic. It's Zuffa Boxing. Topped by Valenuela versus Torres. Only on Paramount Plus. Tonight, Zuffa Boxing brings us a night of proven warriors with the main event featuring elite power punchers. It's the return to the spotlight for Jose Rayo Valenzuela.
Nice left from Jose Valenzuela.
Now the Mexican veteran steps into the danger zone against Diego Torres with 19 knockouts among his 22 wins. Plus, in a highly compelling opener, Alexander the Nail Gvozdyk knows what it takes to win a world title. Now the sharpened puncher meets the hunger unleashed. Valenuela Kalajdzic. It's Zuffa Boxing.
Night of action. It's the former title holder, Jose Valenzuela, moving back to 135 and going head-to-head with Diego Torres, who has an impressive 19 knockouts in 22 wins. Gentlemen, we have 8 fights on deck, and these guys are all business, focused or what, as they get set to make their Zuffa Boxing debuts and ready to go to war. Hello, and welcome to the second chapter of Zuffa Boxing. Thank you so much for hanging with us. I'm Lola Karam alongside multi-time world champion, 2026 Boxing Hall of Fame inductee, Antonio Tarver. Hi, champ.
Hey, how's it going?
And renowned author and analyst, Mark Kriegel. Gentlemen, Zuffa Boxing 1 in the books, quick turnaround. You're back in Vegas. Some of us never left. I might set up residency. It's time for your girl to go home, but we are so hyped to be back at it again for Zuffa Boxing 2. Tell me about the action. What are you looking forward to tonight?
You know, I'm looking forward to that light heavyweight the light heavyweight fight between my homeboy from St. Pete, Hot Rod Kalajdzic, and also Alexander Gvozdyk. This is going to be a major fight. Both of these guys have championship quality behind themselves, and the winner of this fight, I think, goes straight to the title.
I'm looking forward to the main event, Rayo Valenzuela. I'm looking for him to show that he still has the courage, the heart, the technique that he showed less than a year and a half ago when he took the title of the then feared Isaac Pitbull Cruz.
Yeah, Kriegel, you spent a lot of time with these guys. What did you learn from them?
What struck me most was Rayo's been coming back all his life. You'll see a video we did on it later. But Diego Torres is really a kind of a parallel story in this. He's been training at 8,700 feet. I mean, that's like heavy elevation. There is nothing to do. He's 3 hours outside Mexico City. It's all by design. He knows that his one shot is to hit Rayo wherever and whenever he can. Rayo's the boxer. He knows what he is, Diego. He's got to get himself in position to deliver that big right hand. It's the only thing that he does better than Rayo, and the whole evening for him is staked on that.
I mean, he started his career with 13 knockouts. What do you think of Valenzuela making the move back to 135? Do you like that, Antonio?
You know what? I think he's more comfortable at 135. Obviously, at 140, he hasn't had his best nights, and I believe at 135, he just feels that he's stronger and he can compete with the best of them. So I think 135 is perfect for him.
He knows for a fact he's better at 135. He also has a clearer head than he's had for quite a bit.
And that's part of the game. We got a full slate on deck for you. Let's dive into these matchups a little more for you. So the main card, that's kicking off at 9 p.m. Eastern. Opening things up are light heavyweights as Radivoje Kalajic faces number 9 ranked Alexander Gvozdyk in a 10-rounder. The fight you were excited about, Antonio. Then it's a 10-round middleweight bout that promises fireworks as Sergey Bohachuk faces Raja Batayev. And then it's our main event as 2 Mexican lightweights, Jose El Rayo Valenzuela takes on Diego Torres Alazabache in an action-packed bout. Jose Valenzuela has KO'd or knocked down every opponent he's faced at 135, but Diego Torres told us this week, as Kriegel alluded to, he's guaranteeing victory. One side has to give in this high-stakes, all-Mexican lightweight main event.
This is not only a man that can fight, but can box, can bleed, and he can weather the storm.
Jose Valenzuela has fought at the elite level and won at the elite level.
When I step into the ring, I become lightning.
He's a guy who's beaten Pitbull Cruz. He beat Chris Colbert.
El Rayo putting on his best ever performance.
Valenzuela's a southpaw puncher, combined with real punching power.
Beautiful boxing right there by Valenzuela.
Southpaw boxer puncher. That's tough. Diego Torres is a classic aggressive Mexican fighter. He really wants to come forward and unload the power shots.
This kid hits hard. Ooh.
Torres needs to put pressure. He needs to come forward and get those power shots in.
Creo que tengo más potencia y lo más importante creo que tengo huevos.
Al piso, señoras y señores.
When Jose Valenzuela fights in his style, which is to say he doesn't fight off the back foot and he's also not out ahead of himself, he is a tough fighter to beat. And Diego Torres is just the kind of guy to test those weaknesses, because Diego can bang. And this fight has the potential for fireworks. This should be rock'em sock'em.
If the aggressive Rayo comes, it's candidate for Fight of the Year.
Let me tell you, no one's more hyped about these fights than my guy, Max Kellerman. Jose Valenzuela has more big fight experience of looking at the tail of the tape, but he's 2 years younger than Diego Torres. Valenzuela is also an inch taller, but Torres has 2 inches in reach on him. Let's lock in on this main event. Antonio, you have been in this unique position before, and that is reclaiming the title. What is the mindset when you're a champion climbing that mountaintop again to get your belt back?
Well, you know, one thing about it, he's been champion before, so it's not like it's unfamiliar territory. He's confident in his weight at 135, so that's going to give him a lot of confidence. He's going to have to go in there and just be himself, you know, really fight hard to get back to the top. He's in with a big puncher, and if that punch power is real, it could be a dangerous fight.
Punching power is, in fact, real. The question is whether or not the rest of Diego Torres is as real. It's a very well-matched fight. Max's piece alluded to it before, in that Rayo is a lefty. Diego Torres has a big right hand. Conventionally, that's the way, you know, you deal with a lefty. Again, he went up into sort of monastic seclusion even after his son had been born. Missed Christmas. I asked him, will it be worth it? He promises it will be worth it. But again, it's all about getting himself in position to deliver that right hand. I will say that he has been in with championship caliber people before. He lost to Raymond Muratayev. You saw the Andy Cruz fight recently. You know that losing to Raymond Muratayev is no great crime. What it did, however, for Diego Torres was it got him accustomed to the big lights. And talking to Panda Nahar, his coach, he says that was the big thing. Now he knows he's been there. He should be better.
Where did you think Valenzuela's mindset was when you spent time with him?
Look, Valenzuela was completely dedicated. He sees this as a new chance. It's a pretty familiar boxing narrative. He's been up and he's been down. He's had managerial problems, promotional problems. Okay, it's boxing. What he looks to here is a clear head, and I think that's what he really does have. When I saw him in camp, at a pretty revealing interview, he was that most dangerous guy. He was a happy fighter.
Yeah. What's sweeter, the first championship or the second, Antonio?
I think the first time is the hardest. To do it again is great feather in your cap. But I have to say, Diego Torres has the most upside of any fighter on this card, because if he can get a win over Jose, man, it's going to be big for him.
Absolutely. So many fights to look forward to tonight, including a ton of power, as the guy said, in our 2 opening main card fights. Let's check in with my guys who will be calling all of tonight's action. So dapper, gentlemen. Joe Tessitore, Max Kellerman, and Andre Ward. Hi, guys.
Molly, you got us psyched for this main event. Great analysis, breaking it down, setting the stage for what we will see in our main event. Of course, though, we come on the air at 9 p.m. Eastern, and when we do, we're over the top hype because we think we got action that can't miss. One of the themes they just talked about, Dre, is a champion trying to bounce back to where he was. Alexander Gvozdyk will open up at 9 o'clock. He's the former light heavyweight champion of the world against Hot Rod Kalajdzic.
Yeah, I love when a fighter is in this stage in their career where they're a little bit older, like Gvozdyk, and he's always been a good mover. He's always had good legs, but now those legs don't quite work as well. You got to use your brain a little bit more. Now you have to use a little bit more offense against Hot Rod, who is been in there with tough fighters like Beterbiev. He doesn't have the experience that Gvozdyk has, but this is a fight where you want to see the older fighter do some different things. And it's great things, but just different. He goes about it because of the age.
One of the things I love about working with you is sometimes you can't help yourself when you're overly excited about a matchup. You actually start laughing. I don't even know, you realize, like, you get so excited.
Know that, but yeah.
We have that in our co-feature with Boachuk against Butayev.
Yeah, I should just start laughing. I mean, right, you do it too. I mean, this can't not be a great fight. Look, there's no guarantee in sports. This is as close as it comes to one. Boachuk and Butayev, they are going to be going at it. Yeah. When you have 2 fighters with aggressive styles who can both punch and take a punch and are as determined as these 2 guys, I mean, this is, look, I'll say it sometimes. Call your friends. It's one of those kind of fights.
I like them. Call them. Tell them to be ready at 9 p.m. Eastern on Paramount Plus before we even get to the main event. For now, let's check in with Mike Coppinger. Cop?
Do you know this?
Tonight's Zuffa Boxing co-main event is going to feature a name that boxing fans surely recognize, and that is Alexander Gvozdyk, the Ukrainian Olympic bronze medalist, former light heavyweight champion of the world, and currently rated number 9 by Ring Magazine at 175. And he has a tough customer on his hands tonight. That is Hot Rod Kalajdzic. He's been in a lot of action fights. We saw him against David Morrell in 2024, gave him all he could handle, and of course, a common opponent between the two in Artur Beterbiev. And it was against Beterbiev that Gvozdyk lost his title, was hospitalized for 2 days, had a 2-year layoff, and then he came back. And in the midst of this comeback, he's looked really good, especially in the defeat against David Benavidez, one of the pound-for-pound best. But here in Zuffa, both Gvozdyk and Kalajdzic are going to try to see if they can establish themselves as the best 175-pounder in the world. Molly, back to you.
Cop dropping the knowledge per usual. Plenty more to come on the pre-show, including a deep dive into Jose Valenzuela, who fights in our main event. We're about 15 minutes away from Zuffa Boxing 2. El Rayo has been a fighter his entire life, and he's certainly survived more than opposing left hooks. Mark Kriegel has much more after this quick break. We'll be right back.
My dad used to work at a fish factory. The minimum wage was like $10.50 at the time. I remember he would put like the last $30 in his Honda just to get me to the gym. What I love about boxing is breaking my opponent down and coming out victorious.
Si tú no tienes disciplina no vas a llegar a ningún lado y creo que la disciplina es lo que me ha traído hasta aquí.
Jose Valenzuela and Diego Torres headline in Sin City for the first time in their careers. It's a big gamble for both fighters in our main event. It all goes down right here at the Meta Apex in Vegas for Zuffa Boxing 2. We wanted to show off that.
Torres. I'm fighting Diego Torres. He's a good, basic, fundamental fighter. My skills are better. My footwork is better. I got a lot of dimensions in me.
Y lo más importante creo que tengo huevos. Mi manera de hacer mejor mi pelea sería para que él pueda cometer el error y yo poder aprovecharme de eso.
I envision myself knocking out my opponent. Don't blink. It's going to be an explosive fight.
Welcome back to the Meta Apex, and look who's joining us. Mike Coppinger, fresh off the Ring Award, Shakur's big win. How you doing?
You know, I'm glad to be here. Glad to be out of that cold mall. It was freezing. It was like 6 degrees.
Where I live, New York City?
I don't know how you do it.
You don't like it? Hey, I'm used to it. All right, but let's focus on tonight's action. What are you looking forward to in the main event?
I mean, for me in the main event, you have to say Jose Valenzuela, former title holder, and he struggled against Gary Antoine Russell last year, losing his title, but he was mighty impressive when he fought another pressure fighter from Mexico in Pitbull Cruz. So I expect Valenzuela to show his boxing ability tonight against a tough, tough fighter.
Antonio, I'll get more from you on this in just a bit, but Jose Valenzuela may be the minus 950 favorite tonight, but he's been beating the odds his entire life. With another look on him, let's go ringside with Mark Kriegel. Hey, Kriegel.
Hey, how you doing? Rayo Valenzuela is an undeniable talent. He's been up, he's been down, it's boxing. He calls this a fresh start. You can call it a comeback if you want. Just understand that he's been coming back all his life. This is Rayo Valenzuela, former title holder, a born fighter. But his boxing journey nearly ended before it began, 23 years ago.
I'm 3 years old at the time. I was outside. My sister kicks the ball across the street, goes under a car. And in that moment, guy comes from the upstairs, gets in his car, and I'm under the car. He doesn't even notice, and he takes off. Just takes me with him and completely, like, tears me apart. And the doctor gave me 72 hours to live. The last thing I remember is seeing my mom. She thought, like, oh man, he's gone. And then the doctor came out and was like, you know, he made it. He's strong, he's a fighter. You know, my parents always told me, like, I had a bigger purpose.
Su papá lo llevó al gimnasio porque se metía en problemas en la escuela, siempre estaba peleando con los demás niños. Porque él llegó al gimnasio a los 10 años, era muy disciplinado en sus entrenamientos, tenía madera para ser campeón.
My dad used to work at a fish factory. The minimum wage was like $10.50 at the time. I remember he would put like the last $30 in his Honda just to get me to the gym. And then we'd come home and the lights would be off, rent eviction letters, my mom in and out of the food bank. You know, they made all the sacrifice, their last penny. It was stressful on us.
What was the worst part of that?
I knew, like, this is on me. I'm gonna fix all of this. I'm gonna make this better for everybody.
He plied his trade and he did his work, but more than a decade would pass before he finally got that chance. 2024 title shot against the much-feared Isaac Pitbull Cruz.
When that Pitbull opportunity came, I was ready for the moment.
And now it's Valenuela that has a monster on the back foot.
You could see I was very relaxed, and I just fought my best fight.
He's done it!
Now, this fight with the heavy-handed Diego Torres represents a new beginning. Who do you fight for?
Fight for my loved ones. Started from my mom and dad. I have a daughter on the way now. Fight for my daughter, my girlfriend.
Do you have a name for your daughter yet?
Violet.
One day, Violet's going to look back on the video of you fighting. What do you want her to see?
I want her to say that her father was a loving man who was genuine, who worked hard and fought his ass off.
What Ryle wants his daughter to know one day is the exact same thing that Diego Torres wants his newborn son to know someday in the future. The kid was born September 28th. And a few weeks later, Diego was up in the mountains training. He missed his son's first Christmas. I asked him if it'll be worth it. He says, I promise it will be worth it. He's everything. He's my purpose. He's why I'm here. Now, let's catch up with Heidi Androl, who was with Rayo Valenzuela earlier.
Thank you very much. Well, Jose, certainly a big weekend for you here, back in action. Just 2 fights in the last 2 years, but 2 really big ones. One against Pitbull Cruz certainly went your way in a big way, and then, of course, against Gary Antoine Russell, things didn't go exactly as planned. Just take us through your mindset coming into this one and what you've been working on.
Working on a lot on my speed. I shredded down a lot of the weight, coming back down to 135 where I feel best at and comfortable.
Why do you feel best here?
Just because, my style, fast, athletic, and, fast feet. At 140 when I fought Russell, I moved up and I packed on a lot of muscle and weight, and it obviously showed on the fight. It slowed me down. I was flat on my feet. And so this camp, I've just been working on, sharpening up back to who I am.
You mentioned who you are, and I went back to my notes. 2021, you were fighting 4-rounders back then. You told me that you really had to be careful when you smelled blood. Is that something that you've tamed, or is that something you're still working on?
Yeah, no, I'm doing better, I think, with the experience. I'm taming it. I'm being a lot smarter. Obviously, like when I fought Pitbull, and the experience, been using it to my advantage lately, and I got to continue to do so.
Well, certainly against a guy like Diego Torres, right? He's going to be looking to hurt you from the opening bell. He's a big puncher. What is particularly key against a guy like Diego? You smiling.
I like it. When I see blood, it's just, I know I'm going to want to go for that kill. Especially after my last performance, I need a big win. But I got to be smart. I got to be careful. And as long as I'm focused, I should have no problem.
I know you have a baby, Violet, coming very soon. It's been a camp, I'm sure, that's been motivated by the fact that you're going to be a father soon. Just take us through what that means to you and how that's going to show up in the ring.
It means the world to me, to have my own little family, just to build something. I'm very grateful to God and just been praying every day and, motivated to, feed my family.
Very good. How does this one end?
With my hand raised.
What round?
I don't want to, predict the round, but, I'm coming to hurt this guy.
You're confident. All right. Great to see you. Best of luck to you guys. We'll send it back over to you.
Heidi, thank you. Violet, I love that name. That's fantastic. Gentlemen, the prelims are moments away. Cop, you're up first. Who do you have your eye on?
For me, Molly, it's got to be Justin Valoria, the nephew of Brian Valoria, known as the Hawaiian Punch. He was a title holder at 108 and 112 pounds, but the nephew is much bigger. He's fighting here at lightweight 135. Youngest fighter on the card at 21 years old, and I think he has a very bright future.
Youngest fighter, but was so confident in those fighter meetings. He told us he feels like he's on a whole nother level. What about you, Antonio?
It's Jalil Hackett for me. It's a guy that has a popular name from D.C., and his style, man, it's fan-friendly for TV. He comes forward, he looks to knock you out, so that's why I'm a real fan favorite of Jalil Hackett.
Yeah, and obviously he used to train with Mayweather. What I loved about him, he's a big football fan. He was comparing himself to Nick Saban, so his defense is offense. So then I asked him, what's his player comp? And he gave me Reggie Bush. So not what I expected, but it'll be a lot of fun to see him. Okay, a lot of competitive fights obviously on here. Who has the best chance of pulling off the upset, Cop?
For me, I have to go with Radzab Butayev. Over 400 amateur fights, very well-schooled Russian fighter. Gave Amanta Stanionis, a former title holder, all he could handle in a split decision loss and had a very impressive stoppage victory over Jamal James. And Boachuk, of course, coming off of that loss in a rematch to Brandon Adams on that Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford undercard. So I can't wait for that one.
That one has the closest odds on the main card. I mean, if you're a betting man.
I'm cheating a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, obviously. What about you, Antonio?
Well, believe it or not, it's Diego Torres, man. I believe he looks the part. When you look at this guy's eyes and his face, there's something behind that lens. And he's bringing his aggressiveness, and he knows he's in with a slick fighter. But the fact that the last fighter he lost to, Maritella, just beat Andy Cruz for a title gives him confidence tonight, I believe.
He never lost to a southpaw, started his career with 13 knockouts. What do you think of Torres?
Torres, again, Jose Valenzuela, his last 2 fights came against pressure fighters. Diego Torres, of course, another aggressive pressure guy. And Valenzuela, he handled that so well against Pitbull Cruz, who's much smaller, outboxed him to win his title, lost the title in that next fight against Gary Antoine Russell. So certainly he's not going to see any surprises in there. And Antonio, I got to say, I'm very surprised that you weren't a homer and didn't go with Hot Rod Kalajic, who trained in St. Pete.
Well, he went with Hot Rod earlier.
I did. But again, the main event, man, is just so much at stake. Can you imagine if this kid Torres got in there and did what he say he's going to do? He's the hottest thing in the game right now.
They do a lot for his career. What do you think of the move to go to back to 135 for Valenzuela?
I think it's a good move for him. Obviously, we don't have those junior weight classes here, thankfully. More depth in every weight class. Valenzuela can really punch. We saw what he could do against Chris Colbert. That was one of the best knockouts a couple of years ago. He's a well-schooled fighter, and he's a recognizable name.
He's knocked down or out every opponent at this weight. All right, who's winning the main event, guys? Let's pick it. Cop?
Got to go Jose Valenzuela. I mean, when you're a former title holder, the opposition, we're talking about, again, Gary Antoine Russell and Pitbull Cruz, 2 of the most well-known fighters in boxing. Diego Torres only has the one recognizable opponent in Ray Murataya, but you're right, Antonio. It aged really well after that win over Andy Cruz.
And I'm going to go with the upset Torres, man, because we're here on Zuffa Boxing. Anything can happen right here.
Absolutely. It is a 5-fight preliminary card. All 10 fighters have a combined 97-9-4 record. Topping this prelim card is the 10-round middleweight bout between Jaleel Hack and Roberto Cruz Jr. That all kicks off at 6 p.m. Eastern. Jamar Talley is trained by the team behind Terrence Crawford's Hall of Fame worthy career. He kicks things off in just a minute against Devonte Williams. He's locked in. The first fight of Zuffa Boxing 2 is moments away. Live from the prize-fighting capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, the Zuffa Boxing era continues just after this quick break. We can't wait for all the action. Keep it locked right here.
It has been a sun-soaked weekend in Las Vegas, and after an action-packed weekend in the octagon and the ring, now it all gets capped with an incredibly strong card from Zuffa Boxing. We are at the state-of-the-art remade Meta Apex, and it has been filling up, and with good reason, because Zuffa Boxing 02 is loaded and is topped with the recent world champion, Jose Rayo Valenzuela, facing the proven puncher, Diego Torres. That is our 10-round main event. So thrilled you're with us. Joe Tessitore alongside Max Kellerman, the first ballot Hall of Famer, Andre Ward, our ace reporter, Heidi Androl, and our unofficial judge is Skipper Help. And let's waste no time getting right to the next generation of top stars as we ready for the 5-0 cruiserweight, Jamar Talley, in the spotlight against Devonte Williams. This is the tale of the tape. You see the slight reach advantage for Talley, the 25-year-old, these two orthodox fighters, as we get up to the ring for ZB02, the second card in Zuffa Boxing history. Here's ring announcer Joe Martinez.
From the Meta Apex here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon and welcome to Zuffa Boxing 2, Valenuela versus Torres. And now, fight fans, we are set to go 6 rounds as scheduled in the cruiserweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white trunks, he weighed in officially 199 1/2 pounds. In 16 professional fights, his record stands at 13 victories, 3 defeats, 6 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of South Park, Texas, here is Devonte, the Boogeyman Williams! And across the ring stands his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing solid black. He weighed in officially 195 pounds. In 5 professional fights, he stands perfect with 5 victories, no defeats, 4 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Camden, New Jersey, here is Jamar No Mercy Talley! And your referee in charge of the action is Thomas Taylor.
Boxer, chief second. Boxer, coach. Come on in, guys. Coach. Okay, coach. All right, here we go, guys. Belt line's going to be the top of the red letters here, top of the red letters on this side. You both got my instructions in the back. Protect yourselves at all times. Listen to my commands. Touch them up. Back to your corner, gentlemen.
I mean, just size them up right away, guys. You see the difference just in terms of body stature. Jamar Talley against Devonte Williams, who's the naturally smaller man. This is a guy, Max, who turned pro 11 years ago at under 150 pounds, and here he is in the later autumn of his career fighting a cruiserweight.
And he's fighting a cruiserweight prospect, undefeated guy. Whenever you see a cruiserweight, Dre, with you know, some height, 6'2", you always think, let me keep my eye on this guy, because if he's any good, the heavyweight division's always right there for him. And I think there's young cruiserweights especially are interesting because of that.
And Talley is also an interesting fighter because he's very explosive, as we're seeing right here. He gets his punches off very, very fast and quick, and he lands hard. And I've also seen him take some punches early on in his career, and he's taking them well.
He's in with a or a guy who's, at least in Williams' case, has been in with a higher level of opposition. And these are the kind of fights that if you're a streaking prospect, you're supposed to look good in, you know.
So utilizing, doubling up that lead hand there, and then he places a straight right hand to the body. And what a corner he's got, by the way. If you go through the recent history of boxing, you just circle and put a star next to the names Brian Bomac McIntyre and Saul Dieguez, as well as Bernard Davidson. That's the Omaha crew. That's the team that some years ago was doubted of having a certain hotshot lightweight who all he did is grow up to be the best fighter of the past generation, Terrence Bud Crawford.
They stayed down until they came up. They
Exactly.
continued to work and grind. And in this business, boxing, winning changes everything. And they continue to win in the biggest moments. And that's why they're now well-known names and a respected team in the sport.
That's right. But in light of Terrence Crawford's retirement, whether or not that's permanent, he is 38 years old. So even if he were to come back, it's not going to last forever. You know, they get a bump in terms of recognition for their work with Crawford, and then they're going to have to get back to work and develop the next wave, the Jamar Talleys. And yeah, we have to see what they become.
Talley with good work continuing to the body. He was able to place that right hand twice under that left elbow of Williams.
I love when you see a fighter start their punches to the head and finish to the body. It's almost a guaranteed combination that you can throw where you're going to land. It messes with the mind of the opponent, and once you land to the head, the body is oftentimes open.
It's also fun to see a prospect, especially a cruiserweight prospect, a big prospect, who is athletic and has talent and applies those skills aggressively.
See Williams early on shaking his head no to say the punches weren't working or weren't. Yeah, the punches weren't hurting him, but now you don't see him shaking his head like that anymore.
The thud from those right hands from Talley. 25-year-old from Camden, New Jersey, in the midst of his ascent in the cruiserweight division.
I would think the guy from Camden would be trained from guys from Omaha, and you think, hey, he's with these guys from Omaha. He must be a real prospect. He usually works the other way.
Glad you're back with us. Zuffa Boxing 02. Joe, Max, and Dre. We have a lot of takeaways from week number 1 when we were sitting here. One of the things were the preliminary fights and the fighters to watch. That was one of the big takeaways, and I think we're getting that again right away here in week 2.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is, first of all, I love the fact that it's a week later, and here we are back again. And our first fight last week was an incredibly even matchup between undefeated prospects, and the underdog, it was a little wide on the cards, but I didn't know who won at the end of that fight. And this is a little different kind of matchup, but right from the beginning, guys, there is something to watch. You have a legitimate undefeated cruiserweight prospect.
Yeah, I'm excited about the young fighters tonight that get the opportunity to sort of right their early wrongs with maybe a loss or a draw on their record. You know, boxing is filled with landmines, and some of these fighters have stepped on them, but here on Zuffa, on this platform, they get another opportunity to reintroduce themselves.
They do, and of course it all leads to what's coming your way with the main portion at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we feel we've got all action fights there leading to our lightweight main event between the recent world champion Valenuela against Torres, Hot Rods in against the Nail, Vosdick, as well as Boachuk and Butayev.
And I think those odds are too wide, by the way. I saw I think those odds are too wide. Those are good, evenly matched fights.
We'll see how it plays out. There was a dominating first round from Talley. He had a 10-punch connect advantage against Williams. Dre, you mentioned how the young prospects guys come up. We've got a guy coming up in the next fight in Vanderhouten who many feel could be one of those great young American heavyweights to watch with great upside. So be curious to see him.
Yeah, he's got good bones. He's very, very fast. He's spry. He's excited about the sport, and you see it. He's very eager to get going, and I want to see this young man continue to develop.
What you're usually looking for in prospects, I mean, of course, sometimes you can have a prospect with great timing, punching power, he's sturdy, he can get inside, he has skills, things like that. But the baseline, what you're looking for usually, the most obvious thing, are what I would call twitchies, guys, right? Like, is he athletic? Does he have an advantage in speed? It is possible to become an elite fighter without that, but it is difficult. It's more difficult without it. So when you look at Talley, Andre, do you see the requisite kind of twitchies in him as a prospect?
Yeah, absolutely. I see it with both hands, the left and the right, the jab, the arsenal of punches, the patience. Of course, you see things he needs to work on. It's very, very early for him, but there's a huge upside. And again, speaking of his team, he's got the right guys and the right team in his corner.
Putting his combinations together well, and you see there, 3-punch combination that finishes with the left hook, has a bit of amateur pedigree, did spend time at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs as well.
And that's another thing, Andre, you mentioned it. What I look for in heavyweight prospects also, and I suppose this can apply to cruiserweight prospects too. Yeah, guys throw 1-2s and sometimes they put a hook behind it. But will that big fighter throw the multi-punch combination, especially early in his career, 5 and 6 punches? Does he put them together?
And punch selection, where you're throwing your punch, why you're throwing it there. And I see that Talley's thinking through the punch selection. He's not just throwing for the sake of throwing.
I want to see that varied offensive assault. So double jab right there.
And jabbing to the shoulder and to the arm when
into
the
midsection.
Not there.
Yes. One thing he's also doing well is not acknowledging Williams shaking his head and trying to intimidate him. Williams only has 16 fights, but he's been around a long time. He's a veteran, and he tries to get young guys off their game by doing that. And so far, Talley's not taking the bait. Staying focused on the mission.
This is
Oh, did you hear that thud? And the knockdown scored.
4,
Downstairs,
5,
upstairs.
6,
Downstairs,
7, 8, 9, 10.
Knockout victory for Jamar Talley.
And talk about what Andre was just talking about. The thinking through of the punch placement, the slipping and countering precisely with the right punch, fight's over.
That's all the work that Talley did in the beginning to sort of set the table. And the opportunity came for the big right hand, and Talley was able to eat.
Talley to knockout. Oh, man, that's bad. Something tells me that'll be used again in the future.
Here's the work right there. Talley saw the big right hand of Williams coming over the top. Talley got to the left to protect himself and landed his own shot. Down goes Williams.
Dre, break it down for us, the knockout by Talley.
Well, that right hand right there didn't just come because he threw it. He set it up with all the other good punches that we were talking about. And then when he saw the opportunity, he was able to get himself out of harm's way and then also land the big shot that ended the night. That's some good stuff from a fighter that's very, very young.
For the official particulars, here's Joe Martinez.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes officially 2 minutes, 59 seconds, round number 2. Referee Thomas Taylor puts a halt to the fight, reaches the count of 10 for your winner. By way of knockout, he is still undefeated, Jamar No Mercy Talley!
So a good look at Jamar Talley, 6-0, 5 knockouts, the second round KO of Devonte Williams. Future is bright for this cruiserweight. Don't go anywhere. Heavyweight action when we return.